Now on the CTV News at 5, the language in the question that will ask Albertans if they want to separate from Canada will face a full hearing. Plus, the deadline is fast approaching for voters to register to cast a ballot in the upcoming municipal election. And upgrades are coming to Lethbridge's historic 5th Street South.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us. Lethbridge East MLA Nathan Neudorf has submitted a proposal that would see Lethbridge split into as many as 4 provincial ridings. Now, opponents of the proposal are calling it gerrymandering. Quinn Keenan has more.
Big changes are being proposed for Southern Alberta's provincial election boundaries. It could go from this to this. This is just one of the 197 submissions to the Electoral Boundaries Commission in charge of drawing up Alberta's election boundaries. Another submission coming from Lethbridge East MLA Nathan Neudorf, who wants the commission to consider splitting the city's 2 ridings into 3 or 4 that would include outlying rural communities. In his submission, Neudorf says the proposal would strengthen advocacy for both urban and rural residents while supporting the province's goal of responsible economic growth. Several others, including Coaldale's Deputy Mayor Lisa Rice, submitted similar proposals. Opponents see it as a way to dilute NDP voters in Lethbridge with rural voters who are more likely to vote UCP. They view it as a way to break up NDP voters in Lethbridge.
This is gerrymandering in its most blatant form. To split a municipality of our size into 4 and add in a bunch of rural municipalities, it's ridiculous just thinking about it.
Other observers question putting urban and rural voters together in the same riding. Balancing the wants and needs of 2 different groups of people could be a challenge for an MLA.
So now we've got 4 MLAs who are all trying to balance out these urban-rural tensions. How is that actually going to support a functional economic region, which de facto already exists, independent of political boundaries, whether they're municipal or otherwise?
The UCP caucus released a statement supporting Neudorf and the Electoral Boundaries Commission. It was also critical of the NDP, saying it's disappointing to see Alberta's NDP attempt to politicize and cast doubt over this independent process. It's a disservice to Albertans. CTV News reached out directly to Nathan Neudorf's office, but did not receive a comment in time for broadcast from the minister. Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The Electoral Boundaries Commission initial report will be released October 28th. Tomorrow is the deadline for voters to register to cast a ballot in the upcoming municipal election. Eligible voters will have to register on the Election Alberta website by tomorrow. Now, if you don't, you'll still be able to vote in October, but will have to fill out paperwork at the voting station. The new voter list is part of the changes the province made to Bill 20, known as the Local Authorities Election Act. You can pre-register at voterlink.ab.ca. Election day is October 20th. More than 14,000 Albertans took advantage of advance voting in the upcoming Battle River Crowfoot by-election. That's about the same number as the number of advance votes during the election in April. More than 200 names are all listed on the ballot for the by-election, where Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre is hoping to pick up a seat in Parliament. Election day is August the 18th. An Alberta judge ruled today the language in the question that will ask Albertans if they want to separate from Canada will face a full hearing. The proposed question from a separatist group asks, do you agree that the province of Alberta shall become a sovereign country and cease to be a province in Canada? The province's chief electoral officer referred the question to an Alberta judge last month to determine whether it violates the Constitution. Today, the judge ruled it will benefit democracy for the question to be scrutinized, so a full hearing will go ahead. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith did not want the question to go to a hearing, instead saying it should only be reviewed if it wins a majority vote in a referendum. The provincial government is developing new legislation it says will lower car insurance premiums across the province, but the Insurance Bureau of Canada says that may not be the case. It says the new Care First model gives Albertans more money up front in the event of a collision to deal with vehicle, medical, and other costs, as opposed to funds being tied up in lawsuits. The Insurance Bureau of Canada's VP says he welcomes the change, but he says decreasing premiums will depend on the balance the province strikes between payouts and how much legal action is allowed.
Hard to see savings at this point if we're going to have the most generous benefits as well as the greatest ability to sue of all care-based systems. But again, we're still a few months out from knowing exactly what that's going to look like.
The IBC adds Albertans pay some of the highest auto insurance premiums in the country. Well, the province will soon roll out a new campaign targeting stunt drivers and excessive speeders. It aims to educate Albertans about the risk of excessive speed. Alberta's transportation minister says the province is working with police to target locations and times where stunt speeding happens. The plan is to encourage other drivers to report risky behavior. Drivers sometimes post their fastest time on a stretch of road and challenge other drivers. The provincial campaign begins August 25th and it will run for 2 or 3 weeks. When it comes to the U.S. border security, U.S. President Donald Trump says he is making all the decisions.
And Mexico does what we tell them to do, and Canada does what we tell them to do.
Trump has repeatedly cited border security as the reason for imposing tariffs on Canada. Ottawa appointed a fentanyl czar earlier this year to show its commitment to border security. Even though U.S. numbers show fentanyl going into the U.S. from Canada accounts for about 0.1% of the total amount seized at U.S. borders. Danielle Savoni is here with the forecast, and after today, Danielle, we are going to see some warmer daytime highs.
Yes, because today is quite a difference compared to yesterday. Yesterday, for example, many communities were in the 30s. And now struggling just to be in the high teens. Yes, quite a difference a day makes for sure. 18 degrees in Lethbridge at the moment, just to show you the temperatures around the far south. At 19 in Medicine Hat. To put this in perspective, 19 in Medicine Hat right now. At this time yesterday, we were at 35 in Medicine Hat. We were at 32 at this time yesterday in Lethbridge, and Pincher Creek was around 26. So at least 10 degrees cooler, and in some cases 18 degrees cooler. Quite a difference, absolutely. The wind, a little breezy for sure. Close to 40 kilometers per hour gusts in Lethbridge and Medicine Hat. This is out of the north, so it's that cooler wind. It's going to switch, so we'll look at 40 kilometer per hour gusts tomorrow in Pincher Creek, but it will calm down more so in Lethbridge and Medicine Hat for tomorrow. More details coming up, Jackie.
All right, thanks, Danielle. Air Canada has started canceling flights because of a looming strike. The airline says several dozen flights will be canceled by tonight. About 500 will be grounded by the end of Friday. The union that represents 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants is poised to strike Saturday. One of the main issues is unpaid work because flight attendants don't get paid unless the plane is in motion. The airline says its gradual approach to flight cancellations is designed with the customer in mind.
This approach will help limit the strike's impact by allowing as many customers as possible to complete their journeys. But importantly, it will also help facilitate an orderly restart, which, under the best circumstances, will take a full week to complete.
Air Canada says about 130,000 travelers will be impacted per day. Well, this year is being called the second worst wildfire season on record in Canada. But while crews battle the flames, those on the Blood Tribe, they are hard at work researching ways to combat wildfire by using Blackfoot culture. A new fire guardianship program is one of 30 projects that the federal government announced funding for earlier this week. As Carson Marsouk reports, the Blood Tribe is hoping to share their ways with the rest of the country.
Spanning more than 1,300 square kilometers, the Blood Tribe is naturally prone to wildfires. But new funding is hoping to lessen that risk while using Blackfoot methods.
Funding that we received is helping us build a Fire Guardians program that we're able to utilize year-round.
The federal government announced $47.5 million in research funding to better understand and mitigate the chance of fires. The Blood Tribe will receive $500,000 for its guardianship program.
Utilizing fire to fight fire and help to manage our landscapes by utilizing Indigenous-led management techniques that are based on our seasonal rounds.
He says they'll use cultural burning to help balance out the ecosystems to create conditions that are historically normal. Rather than burning thousands of acres at a time, Alvin First Rider says they'll burn 100 or 200 in a mosaic design to create different vegetation patterns.
Really utilizing that Blackfoot ecological knowledge that is here today and implementing it and utilizing it from a Western perspective and then a cultural perspective, and how we could balance the two to manage our landscape is kind of how that funding is really helping us.
The new money comes as the country battles the second worst wildfire season on record.
These investments will play an instrumental role in helping us understand how we can reduce the impact of wildfires on Canadians.
Glenn McGilvery says while increasing fire suppression resources is vital, we won't be able to suppress our way out of this. He says funding into being fire smart, understanding fire, and using alternative safety measures is equally important.
So there's a whole raft of gaps in our understanding and in our knowledge, and I think some of this work will go a long way to kind of filling those gaps.
Which is what First Rider hopes to do with their Blackfoot Ways.
Then it's up to the listener to take as much knowledge and utilize it.
Carson Marsouk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The City of Lethbridge is asking the community for feedback to reimagine the future of 5th Street South. A survey is now open, with the city conducting the preliminary design phase. The city says community involvement is vital to ensure the design of 5th Street reflects what residents want and need. The city says more community engagement events will take place in the near future. The online survey can be found at getinvolvedlethbridge.ca. Well, Danielle is back right after this break with the 5-day forecast. We'll also tell you about a new blood clot removal procedure being used at 3 Alberta hospitals.
Okay, your sky cam facing southwest. And it's a nice day, but it's certainly a cooler day than yesterday. On average, we're about 10 to 15 degrees below normal in the far south for today. Or not below normal, below yesterday. Sorry about that. 16 degrees is the temperature right now in Calgary, and just 17 in Edmonton. So yes, well below normal as well. So we were at 35 yesterday in Medicine Hat at this time. Now we're at 20. And again, we were at about 32 in Lethbridge at this time yesterday. So huge difference in temperature. This is a one-day big cool down, but we'll get back into those 20s for tomorrow. And the winds will calm down as well in most communities. Okay, here's a look at the radar satellite imagery here, and not a whole lot to talk about right now. We're going to get a ridge of high pressure build in, high pressure. More of a dirty high though, so there will be some clouds that will creep in, a little bit of rainfall, isolated showers possible with this as well. So it won't be completely stable and completely bright for the next couple of days, but temperatures will still climb as this starts to build in, so you can see that ridge there. It may be a little windy by the weekend as well, keep that in mind, but we're looking at pretty stable conditions over these next couple of days. But again, with that ridge of high pressure, typically what you get when it's that strong ridge, you get nothing but sunshine. But in this case, we are looking at cloud cover. So it will be mainly cloudy in many parts of the far south for tomorrow. We may even kick things off with a little bit of rainfall in the morning in Medicine Hat. But nothing really active. It's not looking like we're getting thunderstorm activity over the next couple of days. So it's stable, but mainly cloudy. So temperatures will slowly climb with this. Other than that, it's a pretty quiet weekend until Saturday afternoon. We have the potential of getting some isolated showers. Okay, East Kootenay, risk of thunderstorms for this evening, but non-severe thunderstorms. High of 24 for tomorrow, a little gusty tomorrow, 50 kilometers per hour, and mostly cloudy. Okay, when we pop over to Crow's Nest Pass, 10 tonight, small risk of seeing any sort of isolated shower or thunderstorm activity. By Friday, tomorrow, 23 degrees, a little windy, gusts out of the west though, so it's a bit of a warmer wind, at least 40 kilometers per hour with mainly cloudy skies. Showers possible tonight in Medicine Hat up until really early in the morning, 6 in the morning, and then things should start to clear out. 27 degrees as our high, but it will be mainly cloudy for the day as well. And same thing really goes for Lethbridge with regards to the cloud cover. We're looking at mainly cloudy skies. That will be tonight, that will be through tomorrow as well. But we should get enough heat out of that we get up to 25 degrees for tomorrow. So stable for Friday and for the weekend. When the ridge of high pressure really starts to build its way in and strengthen is by the time we get into Sunday. So Saturday, you'll likely still see a good amount of cloud cover with the sun peeking out at times. But, and 27 is our high. But by Sunday, we have the possibility of getting up to 29, even 30 degrees, and that comes with mainly sunny skies.
new blood clot removal procedure is now the standard at 3 Alberta hospitals. Miriam Valdez-Carletti reports.
This is the before and after of 58-year-old David Batke's lungs, thanks to a new minimally invasive blood clot removal procedure.
You can see all those clots, all those areas that were previously full of something are now nice and clear.
After Batke had difficulty breathing after back surgery, he was diagnosed with a pulmonary embolism. Doctors offered him two choices: open heart surgery or the new procedure.
So when you look at the two, they're not even, it's a no-brainer. This is the one.
By using a continuous X-ray, doctors are able to feed a catheter through a vein and eventually to the lung, where the clots are removed. Patients are kept under mild sedation. The surgery lasts about 1 to 2 hours.
Now we're able to offer something so different that we've never been able to offer before.
It's a less invasive option and a better choice for patients like Batke who can't take blood clot medication.
These patients can have this procedure done because there's no medication given. And it just removes the clot itself. So it's really meeting a big unmet need overall.
Batke calls the procedure a game changer for his recovery.
I was 100% back to normal within a week, where if I went the open heart surgery route, I might have been off work for months.
But with this, we can get right up into the clot and take everything. So our results are pretty much the same without all the risks of an open surgery.
Something Alberta Health Services says can help reduce emergency wait times and increase access to other surgeries.
These patients are getting better quickly. We're getting them out of hospital and back to their lives, and I think that's a huge advantage.
The procedure is available at Royal Alexandra, University of Alberta, and the Edmonton Stollery Children's Hospital. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
It's a sweet way to make a difference for sick and injured children. Today is Dairy Queen Miracle Treat Day in support of Alberta Children's Hospital. Net proceeds from every blizzard sold in Canada go to local children's hospitals. Money raised goes to equipment, research, and uncompensated care. Dairy Queen has raised more than $8 million in southern Alberta. In the past 22 years, the event has been held. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5. For the first time in 16 years, the Brooks Bandits are looking for a new head coach. Sports is next. Brooks Bandits are searching for a new head coach as longtime bench boss Ryan Papuano joins the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. Papuano resigned from the Bandits after 16 seasons to become the new head coach of the ECHL's Wheeling Nailers. He coached 1,172 games for the Bandits for a record of .907, .217, .48. Papuano led the club to 9 league championships and 4 national championships, building the Bandits into a junior hockey dynasty. Papuano gave a thank you to everyone in the organization. The Bandits will announce a new head coach soon as they prepare to open training camp August 30th. WCBL finals kick off tonight in Regina. It's the Regina Red Sox going up against the Sylvan Lake Gulls for the championship. Despite having the worst record, Regina will host Game 1 tonight. Games 2 and 3, if necessary, will be in Sylvan Lake. Game 1 starts at 7:05. And a Little League baseball game in New York State had to wait for the dust to settle literally before a championship could be decided. These 11-year-olds had to duck and make a run for it when a dust devil tore through the diamond. The whirlwind lasted about 30 seconds and then play could resume. Wow. Well, a glimpse into the future of sports kicked off in Beijing with the very first humanoid robot games. If you're expecting to see robots take over athletics, then these aren't the droids you're looking for. You can see one of the robots malfunctioning and being carried off the field. The robots competed in soccer as well as testing their speed in track and field, also showcased their creativity in dance competitions and music performances. The robots also marched around the track in a parade of teams. Overall, over 500 robots comprising of 280 teams from 16 countries will display their talents over the 3-day event. Well, here's a look at what can only be described as a spectacle. Various competitors braving the elements to dive down a nearly 20-meter waterfall. It's part of the International Waterfall Jumping Contest in Bosnia as competitors from around the world gather to take the plunge. The dive measures nearly 20 meters, all in a stunningly picturesque setting. Wow. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, how a Vancouver man is using photography to overcome his own adversity, and make connections in an often disconnected world. A Vancouver man with a passion for photography is on a mission to capture strangers and their stories. As Adam Swatsky finds out, it's about more than just the photos. It's a way of overcoming adversity and making connections.
Although Justin Venema wanted to photograph people since he was a child,
I remember looking through the viewfinder and thinking, like, the world just looks really cool.
the social anxiety he developed during the pandemic made interacting with people feel impossible.
And I could feel my hands start to shake and my knees start to tremble.
It was so debilitating, Justin decided he had to face his fear and was determined to approach a random stranger and offer to take their picture.
I wish I could say it was like suddenly found the courage and went out. No, I went out and I forced myself.
8 months after coming up with the idea, Justin vowed he wouldn't return home until he talked to at least one person.
I was feeling like I was going to pass out or throw up or maybe a combination of both.
And then Justin found the courage to do this.
Excuse me. Sorry, so sorry to bother you.
The first person he approached was Jaden, who accepted his invitation.
And they were so kind. All of my fears were immediately alleviated. And I was like, that wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be for the last 8 months. So let's do it again.
So Justin committed to take a stranger's picture every day for the next 365 days straight.
That was the decision I made, and it completely changed my life.
It was far from easy, but after achieving his goal, Justin hasn't stopped. And now also photographs random pets, sharing his images on social media.
It's been such a heartwarming experience all around to go from someone who felt so anxious and alone to someone who feels connected.
But although the process began as a way to help him, Justin's kept doing it as a way to empower others.
When I'm literally looking at the most photogenic person in the world, they're like, oh, I don't look good in photos.
So Justin aims for each stranger he meets, like Seth Marks, to feel seen.
Oh, so good, so good.
For their stories to be heard.
Little rock star, that's good.
And for them to leave feeling included.
Kind of was like a highlight to my day. Like, I wasn't like expecting anything like that.
Everybody at their core wants to connect, they just don't know how. Force yourself to talk to people, and I really do feel like if you do that, it will change your life.
Adam Swatsky, CTV News, Vancouver.
Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.